is that he wants to have a pension store.
Oh,
Didn't mean that.
no.
Can we?
That's it.
What about the cow?
Oh, that's a
So
different
that one,
story.
that's a funny
That's a
one.
different
That's what we've
story.
got to tell the cow.
Yeah.
You got to tell the cow
I
one.
don't know.
That's a hilarious story.
Is that the funny story?
That's the best one. It's the
You've
funniest
got to
one,
get ready
isn't
to
it?
go
No,
to
just the cow story, and then you can go.
Okay. If in case you listen to these tapes, this next story I'm going to tell you is happened much before that, the incident in the Reichswald Forest, because that was the last time I ever went into active duty, because from then on, evidently I suffered from shell shock, and I was never sent into combat duty again after that. The other story is it's a verstunkene story. But anyway, Grandma seems to like it, so I'll tell you.
Don't even know.
It was before the incidents at the Reichswald Forest, much before that, and we were the 53rd Welsh Division, and we were trying to establish a front. Unless you've had military experience, you wouldn't know what that really involves. You have to take this side and you have to take that side, and you build up a front. It doesn't just come in an invitation. And for some reason I can never remember, I can't figure out, we suddenly realised that we were cut off. We'd been trying to capture a certain section, and we got cut off. We had no communication. There was no communication between, radio communication between a small unit like us and the main unit. We certainly didn't have them. There probably were communicating, but we didn't have one. And we were a machine gun unit. There was 4 of us, that's all. But we had attached to us 4 infantrymen. So that made 8 of us in our group. And there was no communication from headquarters, from the brigade headquarters, or even from platoon headquarters. So we soon realised that we were left stranded. We had nothing. We had our gun and our ammunition and a can of water, and that was it. So night time came, and we had to find cover, which we did, and we'd stay. And the same thing happened the following day and the following day. About the 3rd day, army rations had run out. We had no food and no water and no communication. But there'd been a lot of action from the Germans in not too far away, not in our immediate area, but maybe a couple of 100 yards away. And we were in a sort of a farm area. It was all agricultural, that type of area, flat land. And it was somewhere near Sertogenbosch, which was in Holland. Now we'd heard the day before a lot of infantry fire and a little bit of light machine gun fire, but it hadn't affected us, so that way we were safe. But we were all like talking with each other, so what we're going to do, we're going to bloody starve to death out here. As it is, the food wasn't great, but at least it was food that would keep you going. And then one of the fellas suddenly realised that there'd been some, can't call them casualties, but there'd been some cattle and they'd been killed got in the way of the crossfire, which happened the day before. And one of them said, look, there's a cow over there in the field. If we can get that over here, we can get some food from it. We can cut it up and have some meat. At least it would keep us alive. So we all agreed it was a good idea. But who the hell's going to go and get it? You'd get your head blown off. Better to stay alive and hungry than get... So we all figured it out. If we could get some kind of a rope made out of anything, and one of us would volunteer to go and attached the rope to the head of the animal, between us we could drag it towards us because we had quite a reasonable amount of cover. A few bushes, some low-hanging trees where we weren't being seen. So anyway, it took a couple of hours and we decided to draw lots. Unfortunately, I didn't get a lot, and somebody decided he'd go. So I said, we gave him instructions: go on your hands and knees and crawl. Doesn't matter how many hours it takes, crawl. Okay, and then when you've managed to fix the rope, first of all we had to get a rope of some kind. So one of us got into the farmhouse and we managed to get a long rope. We tied the two ends together. We got quite a few yards, maybe a couple of 100 yards of rope, all wheeled up. So one of them crawled out on his hands and knees, and he managed to go there. And after about 2 or 3 hours, I don't remember exactly, we felt this tug on the rope, so we knew the rope was attached to the cow. So we start pulling. Bloody hell. You ever felt the weight of a cow? 8 of us. So we slept, and it took hours. Must have taken 2 or 3 hours. And eventually, we got this cow. So we get the cow.
Where's the guy?
What?
Where's
No.
the person that's gone to get it?
Oh, we got the cow, and the cow's near us. So we schlep it underneath the low trees. Okay. And I said, what are we going to do now? Can't eat a raw cow. And another thing, we looked it over, and all the side that we saw that was obvious, was laying on its side, was all full of bullet holes. Can't eat that. So we've got to turn the cow over. So together we waited till nightfall when it was dark, and we all managed to heave it over and throw it on its wrong side. Now it's full of crap, it's full of dirt and mud and all sorts. Anyway, we had bayonets. We all had bayonets. And 1 or 2 of the infantry had a short bayonet, because there's 2 lengths of bayonets. There's a dress bayonet, which is about 2'6" long, and there's a short bayonet, which is about 9 inches long. And it was sharp, so we had that. So with the long bayonet, we scraped up a lot of the mud, and they all sit round and they said, well, what do you mean, well? Because I was a corporal at that time, they're looking at me. He said, who's going to cut it? I don't know, do me a favour. Nobody wanted to cut the cow up. Well, somebody had to. He says, well, even when we cut the cow, how the hell are we going to cook it? So we decided that we'd cook it in the morning, when they wouldn't see the light, because if we cooked it and made a fire and cooked it at night, they'd see the fire and we'd get killed in the bargain. So we had to do it in the early morning, especially if we were lucky enough to find a mist, a ground mist. And fortunately, I had it managed it, and they left it to me, so I had to cut the skin off, right? So we turned the cow over the night before, and the following morning, this is the 4th day already, we're bloody starving round, going mad, and they finish up eating each other. So they give me the short bayonet, and they said, right, skin the rump. Forget about cashews. Okay, so I dug the knife in, and it wasn't at all hard. As far as I can remember, it wasn't hard. I managed to get the bayonet, and I cut it up, and I cut a good big lump of skin off from 3 sides, and I let the other flap over. Now we're on the rump, so I'm starting to cut it through. Now, the following morning, we dug a hole, the trench, and we found a tin, like a biscuit tin, and that would be the pan. So they said, look, you can't fry this over on a tin unless you get some fat. Well, the cow had some natural fat. So I cut some of the fat and they put that on the bottom of the tin, and then I started cutting steaks of meat. I don't know where they all came from. We started with 8 of us. I don't know how many people came, but the smell, it was like salt beef bar. It was like a bloody salt beef. I never got anything for a long time, because I'm cutting the meat as fast as I'm cutting it, they're eating it. But it finished up that in the afternoon we got released. They found us, but we at least we managed to survive. But you've never tasted anything so magnificent in all your life. It was out of this world. Just over the tin got red hot because we got enough wood there to make a fire underneath. And we got the fire, and the tin became red hot. You put it on, it wasn't on 2-3 minutes, turned it over with 2 bits of wood, and that was it. And they got hold of it and they started eating.
Okay.
And that's the Ganser Master.